Show of hands, who here is a local? Who's from Georgia? Okay, most of the audience. And who's international students? Excellent. So I'm going to give you a crash course in public speaking, and by the end of the day, I want you to not be afraid of public speaking. Just by show of hands, who is afraid of public speaking now? So for those who didn't put their hands up, are you going to come up and give a speech? Yeah? Okay. So, as Bill said, my name is Kevin Flanagan. Like everybody in this room, I'm a lifetime talker. I've been speaking professionally for about 15 years now. And I've spoken at conferences, festivals. I have over 10 years experience of educating, developing, and empowering thousands of young leaders all across the globe. And my educational background is in liberal arts. I have a bachelor's of law and society, and I have a master's in politics, philosophy, and economics. Founder of the Bread Academy, which is an online organization that is designed for promoting Irish culture. And just to prove that I'm not lying, here's evidence of all the talks I've given. You might recognize these two guys up here because they're attending the conference. They're sitting down there. Just give a wave, lads. And this is me with long hair before I was in the Liberty Movement. But I was actually in the Liberty Movement. This was speaking at a festival called Féile na Saor, which means Festival of the Free. And yes, I did have long hair, and I was king of the hippies. But before we start, public speaking is a little bit like art. And I'm asking you to learn the rules like a pro so we can break them like an artist. Just like understanding the foundational rules and techniques of effective art, there are effective techniques and tools for speaking. And as we begin this journey together, I want you to trust the process. This is a safe space. It's okay to fail, but you're not going to fail in this room. You must empty the cup. You can't fill a cup that is already full. So, before we start, I'm going to ask you to do something. I'm going to ask you to, together, take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. 3 deep breaths. And on the third breath, I want you to feel your cup emptying and adopt a learner's open mindset. So what we're going to cover today, there's so much I could have spoken about. Before I start, I have a bag of incentives here. What does that mean? So if you engage with me in this presentation at all, you get to put your hand, a lucky dip, and this is all the kind of the stickers and the beer cozies and pens and what do you call those things that click on the back of your phone? Those things are in here as well. So if you engage with this presentation, you get to put your hand in the lucky bag and take out something that's in there. Now, I wanted to find things that, I only have 2 hours. So I wanted to try and pick the best topics to give you a great head start in public speaking. And so today we're going to talk about hook, line, and sinker, which are the 5 effective ways to open a speech. Then we're going to talk about nonverbal communications. And then, if we have time, which I think we will have time, I'm going to give you an introduction to storytelling. Does that sound good? I can't hear you. Yes. Excellent. Okay. So, hook, line, and sinker, how to start a speech. There are 5 effective ways to start a speech. They are a fact or a statistic, a quote, a story, a joke, or a question? So, fact. Fear of public speaking is America's biggest phobia statistic. That's over a quarter of Americans that list public speaking as their number one fear. But my friends, what would the world be like if its change makers could unleash the power of rhetoric, master the art of persuasion, speak with body language, tell captivating stories, banish stage fright for good, change minds, and touch hearts? Let me tell you a story. This is Sarah, and she has 6 fingers because she was generated by AI. Now, Sarah, despite her disability, she was a young, brilliant scientist. But her problem was that she was crippled with fear whenever she tried to speak about her research. It was groundbreaking research. Don't ask me what it was just groundbreaking. Now, there was a problem. Every time she got up on a stage, she was crippled with fear. She got sweaty palms. Her heart started to pound. She was short of breath. Any of this familiar? But Sarah did something about that. She took this public speaking program that you're now receiving, and she conquered her fear. And that allowed her to speak to audiences like this about research that was groundbreaking and really had an effect on the world. So not only did she unlock the ability to speak to large audiences, she unlocked the ability to share her research. This is Alex. Alex is an entrepreneur. And Alex, unfortunately, has the same problem. He had a brilliant idea, but whenever he tried to speak to stakeholders, potential funders, he just couldn't communicate his idea effectively. He stammered, he couldn't get the words out, and just like Sarah, his heart was racing every time he tried to speak. But Alex knew that if he wanted to turn his dream into a reality, he had to get better at public speaking. So he attended workshops. He even joined a local group, public speaking group, called Toastmasters. And then he was able to deliver compelling pitches. I was going to tell you the story of Michael, but it follows the same format. He's scared of public speaking. He's a teacher. And then he did something about it. He took the Spotlight Public Speaking Masterclass, which is what you're looking at now, and he then conquered that fear and was able to speak at parent-teacher meetings, and he even got called to speak at conferences. But let me tell you about my story. So this time last year, I was waking up from a brain surgery. You might notice the scar on the side of my head. It's hard to miss. And I was left with a slight speech impediment. And it was a long journey to get to where I am now. I remember when Isadora invited me to speak at this conference, I was like, what do you want me to speak about? And she said, public speaking. I was like, I don't feel ready to do that. But Isadora believed in me. She encouraged me, and thank you, Isadora, for that. And if I didn't have the tools that I'm about to share with you today, I probably wouldn't have gotten through that period of time. I wouldn't have regained my speech, or not as quickly. I wouldn't have regained my speech as quickly. So it's been a long journey, but I'm happy to be here. This is the first time I'm talking about public speaking in over a year. And it's important to be good at public speaking because the spoken word is the most powerful of all persuaders. Speech is power. Speech is the only tool in our arsenal that we can affect change. We can change the world peacefully. It's really important to say that because there's other options on the table. But we want to avoid those options as much as possible. And speech is the power that we have, the superpower that we have to do that. Now, the only thing worse than giving a speech is giving a speech about speeches. Public speaking is a bit like riding a bicycle, except the bike is on fire, you're on fire, everything's on fire, and you're in front of a live audience. If you ever forget your lines, just remember that the audience probably didn't have them in the first place. And don't worry if you forget your lines, because it's just part of the suspenseful plot. To avoid nervousness, this is a great tip. Picture your audience naked. But don't mention that during your speech. Because public speaking is a little bit like singing in the shower. It's fun when no one's watching, but it's even more entertaining when they are. Right, so now we move on to the line. That was the 5 hooks that you have, okay? Now we move on to the line, which is your thesis in a sentence. You should be able to explain what you're trying to talk about in a sentence, a single sentence. You will learn how to grab and hold any audience's attention. This is my line. This is my line. So I've given you 5 hooks. This is the line now. You will learn how to grab and hold any audience's attention. You will learn how to grab and hold any audience's attention. Now, sinker, what will we cover? This is where you outline the content like a menu in a restaurant, and also how much time you're going to speak about it. So you're communicating the structure of your speech before you give your speech. And why are you doing that? Because you want the audience to have a good expectation of how long you're going to be speaking for. So I would specify the key points or topics or arguments that you're going to make and how much time you're going to spend on each topic. So, what's covered? 5 attention-grabbing hooks, a thesis in a line, and tell them what to expect, which is what I'm doing now. Now, just to summarize that, you have 5 hooks: fact or statistic, a question, a story, a quote, or a joke. You have a line, which is the thesis in a sentence. And then you have your sinker, which is where you tell them what you're going to talk about and how long you're going to talk about it. Got it? Make sense? Okay, any questions? No? Okay, I'm going to assume that I'm delivering this content very well. Huh? Okay, thank you. Oh, I forgot, I want to take a selfie. I want to take a selfie. Hold on. Okay, smile for the camera, everybody. Oh, that wasn't right. Let me stand in the middle. Excellent. Sorry about that. Right, so before we move on to the next conversation, the next topic, was everything clear so far? Okay, so what are the 5 hooks? Okay, that's a lot of lucky dip. I think you were the first one to answer, but just pass it around to the people who, and it's okay to take more than one sticker or tea cozy or whatever, and pass it over here as well. I want everybody, when they leave this room, to have something out of that bag. And I think I brought enough for everybody. Right, so we're going to move on to nonverbal communications.
Hand gesture.
Sorry?
Hand gesture. I said uncommon hand gesture.
We're going to get to that. Okay, so what we're going to cover in this is my thesis in a sentence and my sinker. This is my line and my sinker. We're going to talk about evolution, your stance, your gestures, your expressions, your tone, your eyes, your artifacts, and then we're probably going to play some activities and games. Now, this is, not to bore you with the science, this is based in science. It's called paralinguistics. You have nonverbal vocalizations, and you have nonverbal behaviors. So with the vocalizations, you have things like pitch, intonation, volume, speed, tone, and vocal quality. And for the behaviors, you have things like facial expressions, gestures, body movements. And this is directly related to how we have evolved. This is a diagram of the triune brain. And the oldest part of our brain is what's called the ore complex, or the reptilian part of the brain. You then have the limbic system, which is the emotional part of the brain. This is where our mammal brain begins. And then you have the neocortex, which is thoughts, reasoning, rational. With the limbic system, it's all about emotions. It's how you feel. And whether we like it or not, we are emotional beings. Sorry, Isadora. We're emotional beings. We make judgments often, or we make a decision often on emotional basis, and then we try to rationalize it later with some information. So you might see a lovely car that you really want, but rationally, can you actually afford that car? You'd probably buy it and then justify the decision afterwards. Sorry. And this makes sense because we have evolved from chimps. Like, you can tell what they're thinking almost just by how they look. And again, it's because we've evolved from chimps that we see all of these expressions. We talk with our face. So what do I mean by that? Well, you see this bottom one here, the full-toothed smile. That's why we smile. And you'll see it says fear, which is kind of like saying, I have teeth. I have teeth. Don't harm me, I have teeth. Gorillas as well. One of our distant cousins. Now, I want you to pay attention to this guy here with his arms folded. So there's a lot of interesting things going on here, especially with him up there. I think he looks a bit like this chimp with the lips. This is obviously a collage that I made a long time ago because he's not Prime Minister of Italy anymore. Obama's not the president anymore. And Biden is Biden. So now, what I'm talking about here is backed up by science. This is at least there's 4 psychology papers that I chose here, that I found here. The body is evidence for the nature of language, towards the neurobiology of emotional body language, language, gesture, and emotional communication, an embodied view of social interaction. Body language in the brain, constructing meaning from expressive movement. This is just 4 of thousands of articles like this. And what we're trying to do when we speak with body language is we're trying to build a connection. Come back to those apes. What do you think it is that makes the ape an alpha male? You think it's strength?
Dominance.
Okay.
Courage.
Courage. Send the bag down there after you're done.
Their presence.
Sorry?
Their presence.
Their presence, yes. Sorry? Support, exactly. It's empathy. It's actually the capacity for empathy. So it's not always the strongest or most dominant chimp that is the alpha male. It's the one who is the peacemaker. It's the one who can sense the tension between even the female apes. And they can get in there and break it up, even if it's his mother fighting against another female ape. The alpha male can detect that that's going to be a fight, and he will run in and he will break it up. So that's why he has supporters that are stronger than him, because he's very good at building connection. Body language and emotional intelligence. So with body language, you have things like eye contact, posture, expressions. You have smile. I have teeth. I said expressions. Pace, your hands, your gestures, your tone, your stance, silence, and movement. With emotional intelligence, you have things like, hold on, there we go. You have things like empathy. You have ability to regulate your emotions. You have self-awareness. You have the ability to pick up on social cues. You have play, being playful in your communication. You have motivation. You also have understanding and self-actualization, which we love self-actualization in objectivism. So, stance. Here you see stance. Here you see a man with 4 different stances and communicating different things with each of those stances. Now, people make snap judgments because based on evolution, they make snap judgments about how you even walk up to the stage. Now, you're probably thinking of the lecturer who is not so good at communicating, and you're probably not that interested in his class, because he often would shuffle up to the stage, and he won't look up from his notes, and it's just not engaging enough. So we're going to do an exercise, the first exercise we're going to do. I want everybody to stand up. Thank you. Now, wait for instructions. So I want you to think back to those gorillas, okay? I want you to adopt a gorilla mindset. I don't know why you're laughing. That's not the joke. So what we're going to do is I want you to just relax, put your hands by your side, okay? This is your resting stance, okay? And I'm going to show you how to adopt a powerful resting stance. Right, I'm going to instruct you how to adopt it. So I want you all to close your eyes, channel the inner gorilla, deep breath. Feel that gorilla strength in your arms. Breathe out. Breathe in. Let your chest out. Hit it a few times. Perfect. And now just let your hands fall by your side, but leave your chest out and just relax. No. Okay, you can sit down now. Thank you for indulging me in that exercise. Gestures. We are always talking with our hands. The hands are a tool for communication. Think back to those politicians that I showed you a few minutes ago. Like, they all have their own custom gestures. And you would probably know who I'm talking about if I did this, Mr. Blair. You'd probably know who I'm talking about if I did this, right? It's amazing. It's huge. We pray with our hands together. We give thanks with our hands open. And we clap when we show our appreciation for something. Yes. We dance. We do dance. So I'm going to do an exercise, another exercise, and I'm going to give some instructions, but I don't want you to follow them. I just want you to pay attention to how you feel when I do these actions, okay? So could you, and you go over there? No, I said don't follow the instructions. Could you, and you go over there? Could you, and you go over there? What was the difference? Of course, my hand was different, but what did you feel?
The first one was welcoming.
Exactly. Sorry? Okay. I don't think my voice changed at all. Right. So you got it. It's a submissive position, a dominant position, and an aggressive position. And there was body language experts called APs and BPs. I think that's a fake name, but anyway. And they conducted an experiment where they gave lecturers these different gestures to do in short 10-minute classes. And the percentages that you have there were the results of the survey of people who said they had a positive experience. So with the submissive position, with the open palm, 84% of the respondents said they had a positive experience. That dropped down to 52% with the dominant position, and again to 28% with the aggressive position. So what do we learn from that? When we're speaking, we should always speak with an open hand, like we're giving a gift to somebody. Because we are giving a gift to somebody, and they're giving a gift to us as well with their attention. So when we speak with open hands, it's like we're having this relationship. But if I start pointing at everybody, it just shuts it off. There's no flow of energy that's taking place.
I have one question. If someone scared something, why it is our problem? Like it's pointing, it is dead, someone but why is it our?
Because we want to be effective communicators. Great question, though. Okay, now we're moving on to expressions. We would like to have a lot more of these type of expressions and a lot less of these ones. So rage, revulsion, terror, grief, sadness. Maybe we would like some shock and surprise. Depends on what we're talking about. But we're aiming to get these faces, nice, smiley, happy faces. I see a few of them now, and I see actually a few of these ones as well in the crowd. It's because we are always communicating with our faces. Like if you were talking to me and I was looking at you like this, you'd know that I'm not following what you're saying, or I think what you're saying is absurd. So we have to be very conscious of how we are expressing ourselves through our faces. I know it's just another thing to worry about, but it is important, trust me. And it's nothing that we have control over, because I do it to you and you do it to me. It's just based on the evolution. Paralinguistics is a very important part of communication. Some people would say it's even more important than the words that you choose to use. How you express yourself with your body and your tone. Tone. So what we're talking about here is called vocal vigor. And that means making sure that you're loud enough to be heard at the back row. And you could even ask at the start, can everybody hear me down the back? I know you can, because the microphone was really loud when I started talking. Speak from your diaphragm. Put verbs into actions. Match voice and story. And never underestimate the power of a well-placed pause. Pauses add emphasis to what you're saying. This is about tone, pitch, silence, the musicality of your voice, that you can talk very high like this or very low like this. And get used to using the voice as an instrument, because it is an instrument. Just why we have the most beautiful instrument in the world is the human voice. Now, Eyes. Eyes are the windows to the soul. So you should use them. You should use them. We're not talking to a room full of people. You're talking to individuals in a room. And when you make eye contact with them individually, they feel like they're being seen. They feel like they're being heard. Now, don't make the schoolboy mistake of just picking somebody in the audience because they looked at you and they nodded and you're like, that's a safe person. I'm picking you. You're my safe guy now. And keep coming back because it's happened to me and it's not comfortable. You're comfortable, but they're not comfortable. Like, I remember it happened to me once and I was nudging the guy beside me and I was like, is she staring at me? Is she really staring at me? So you don't want to make people feel comfortable. Eyes are the windows to the soul, so you should use them and connect with people individually. So try to get into the habit of bouncing around the room because it's a full room of people. Yeah, I see you down the back with the glasses on. And sometimes you're not going to see the audience. Why? Because there's going to be bright lights on your face. So what should you do in that situation? Pretend that you can see the audience. Just look out into the dark abyss and just make out that you're looking at the audience, okay? Now, the next slide is all about artifacts. And what do you think artifacts are? Yes. Anything else? Who said items? The gift bag, yes, exactly. Well, it's all this that we bring up. It's like this clicker, which is exactly the same as the one in the image. The laptop that I'm using, the microphone that's on my face, and sometimes you would have a handheld mic. It's also glasses. It's also glasses. Why do you want to use glasses? Because, well, first of all, it makes you look a little bit more intellectual. And you can use them to gesture. You can use them as a prop to gesticulate. I remember watching, who's ever heard of Christopher Hitchens? That guy down the back. Nobody else? Okay. So Christopher Hitchens, he was an atheist, but he would speak with his glasses and he would always gesticulate them like this. And it just made him look so much more interesting. And another good reason to bring your glasses on stage is that it gives you a chance to like take them off, you know, put them back on. You're reading something, take them off to speak, put them back on again when you're reading it again. And it just makes you look a lot more confident, I would say. And obviously the notebook as well. That's a great prop to have if you're speaking on a panel or something like that. And I see all of you are diligently taking notes during this presentation, which I love to see. Of all the props and artifacts that you can bring on stage, do not go on stage without a glass of water. Because it allows you to project confidence, first of all. If you're asked a difficult question, you can take a sip of water while you're thinking about it. And it just projects that you have confidence and you have control of the room. Now, props. There's a story behind all of these images, maybe not so much these ones here, but the props are the things that you bring on stage that don't need to be there. So this is Steve Jobs' hand showcasing the first iPhone. This are photographs. So if you're telling a story of like your grandparents or something like that, it's okay to bring in a few photographs to pass them around the audience just so they can get a feel for what you're talking about. Now, the flowers, the shoes, and the 10-euro note. Okay. starting with the 10 euro note. This is Benaya Turlo. He was one of my past pupils. And he actually won the competition that we were running in Warsaw in Poland. And he started his speech with, one of you has 10 euro under their seat. Don't look. It's very interesting, isn't it? One of you does have 10 euro under your seat. I'm serious. You can look. It should be on the left-hand side. Okay, nobody's going to find it because he's looking on his phone. And his speech was about the veil. You can't see the race, the gender, the religion of the person behind the veil. And he was a lawyer, and so he was talking about why we should make law with the concept of behind the veil. Like in ignorance, basically, that we should make laws that apply equally and evenly to all people. Nobody found the 10 euro. One of you has 10 euro under your seat. Please look for it. Yeah. You have 10 euro under your seat. Have a look.
It's in my pocket.
Okay. No, it's under your seat. Did you find it? Okay, he's not going to get it. This is Bettina, or Beryl. I always get those mixed up. This is Beryl. And she was doing an elevator pitch, and she won because she was talking about Students for Liberty as a journey. And she took off her runner and goes, and this is the shoe. Students for Liberty is the shoe that helps you walk on that journey. She was actually talking about life being a journey. And she said, Students for Liberty is the shoe that can help you walk on that journey. This is me talking about the White Rose Society. And I had a bunch of roses. And this is the second time I spoke about this, students who changed the world. And I held up the bunch of flowers, and I asked them, who is this? Who does anybody know what these people are called? And when somebody in the audience said the White Rose Society, I began giving the flowers out to the people in the audience as I was reading out the quotes from the pamphlets of the White Rose Society. It was very effective. It was very effective. Now, you've already guessed this one. Stickers and sweets are always a good thing to have because you're going to get extra engagement that way. And that brings us on to our activities. Okay. So you're going to see a couple of activities here that we're not going to do, but just to give you an idea of what we would do on the program. Mirroring, body language detective, emotional statues. Maybe we'll do this, okay? Could I get 5 or 7 volunteers up here, please? Yeah, you had your hand up first. And you, and you, and you, come up. And you, sir. Anybody else? Yeah, you come up. Where's the bag of goodies? It's gone. Where is it? Okay. Is there anything left? Ah, yeah, there is. Okay. Anybody else want to volunteer and get something from the magical bag of tricks? You, sir? Do you want to volunteer, ma'am? Okay, so each of the participants are going to be given an emotion, and then they have to strike the pose that best describes that emotion, and then you guys are going to guess what emotion they're trying to describe. Okay. Pride. Why are you laughing? Okay. So, I'd like you all to strike your poses now. Together, and hold it. Okay, who wants to guess? This one? No, the next one?
Balcony.
The third one?
He's singing the national anthem.
Sorrow. Word. Slowly.
What about the last lady here? She is in love. She is in love, yes. Anybody else want to guess? Go ahead.
Confused. Or disgusted.
The next one? And the third one? I want you to go through all of it.
Bored. Not anxious, but like, I don't know.
I think third one is bodyguard.
Nervous.
That's actually correct.
What?
That's actually correct. Kidding.
It's not angry. It's
This day.
disappointment. And then, so we're ready. And then next class.
Like you guys are peers next to each other.
Yeah.
The only
What's your
thing
name?
is this. It's the same.
Mehmet. He says he's confused by what you're doing. You.
No, I just said they have beards and they're sitting next to each other and their poses are pretty much the same.
Yes.
They use their beards as props.
The first one is impressed. Impressed by something. Aren't you?
Trying to make impression. Reminiscing.
Just interested.
First one is like
Okay. I'm going to release you.
Position of my head.
We have been doing that for a while.
He's like,
Huh?
It's all romance. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to release you from your misery, but before you go, tell the audience what your emotion was.
Anger. Anger, yeah.
Right.
Someone said it.
Joy.
Mine was sorrow. Jealousy.
Mine was hope.
This is all. I'm so hopeful.
I don't know if it's considered as an emotion, but it's concentrating.
Mine was love.
Okay, give them all a round of applause. So before you go, take something from the bag. Right. Silent debate, 2 teams of participants debating a complicated topic but without sound. And that's for 1 minute. Now, we're not going to do this because it's a little bit of organizing, and it works better with smaller groups. Charades, that's it, play charades. Does anyone want to have a go at doing this? No? Going once? Going twice? Come on. Okay. It's your turn.
My turn?
Whoever said Jaws there.
I didn't know if I was. Okay. I think this. Whoever said Jurassic Park is.
Who said Jurassic Park?
Jurassic Park.
Italian guy.
Yeah, exactly. You got the total?
Okay, you want to have a go? Okay. Oh gosh, I have to think of something else.
Thank you.
Okay, this is the last one. Okay, give everybody a round of applause.
Now, the next thing we're going to do is body language salad. I'm going to give you 3 random ingredients, which are gestures. You're going to speak for around 2 minutes, but you don't have to speak for 2 minutes. All ingredients must be used, and you can use your signature move, but we didn't do that this morning, so there is no signature moves. Let me just see if I can get this. Yeah. So I have all of these body language options over here. And let me just see, do I have the topics? I have all the topics here, right. So what I would like to do is let you choose which topic you're going to talk about, okay? I'm not going to make it hard for you. There are questions that I think you can speak about for at least a minute anyway. And you're going to have to use these gestures. So I'll just give you an example of how this is going to work. Okay, peace sign, hand on heart, scout salute. It's the 3 fingers. Dib, 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 do your best. Okay, let's try another one, shall we? And you're not going to get the 3 ingredients until you actually come up and pick your topic. Finger gun, thumb up with a wink, and praying hands. Okay, does it make sense? Are you ready to start? So who's going to go first? I think you should go first because, no, the guy here who guessed the last thing in the charade, so you get to go first. Okay. Move. Hi, how are you? Do you know that?
Yeah, it's like this. Okay.
Cross fingers
Okay.
and heart gesture. Right, and I'm going to let you pick your topic from this list. Oh, let me try it this way. It is with the voice as well, yeah. Okay, so which topic are you going to pick? Okay. Your time starts now. Okay, here you go.
Okay, so hi everybody. So I was walking around the space and I start to see a lot of volcano people and he say hi everybody. And at the moment, I think I'm a little bit scared because I don't know these people, so I cross my fingers and say, I'm praying that they don't kill me. Unfortunately, I will say, and I say, I love you.
Excellent. So, I want you to pick the next person, and I'm going to give the topic of time travel. Okay?
I need to choose an expert.
Yes.
It's complicated. No, you're right.
I'm going to give him time travel. No, I'm going to give him the question. Okay, so if you could travel back in time to any historical event, which one would you choose and why? And so you have time to think about what you're going to say. Okay sign, fist bump, and finger gun. You can pick someone in the audience if you wish. And you don't have to do them in that order. You can as long as you use the 3 of them in your speech, that's good.
Whenever you have your mic on, we can always hear you.
I know.
So once again, the question was...
If you could travel back in time to any historical event, which one would you choose and why?
And it was fist bump, okay sign, and...
Finger gun.
Should I start? Yeah, okay. Guys, so first of all, it's not an easy topic to talk about one particular event I would like to come back to. But there is one that I don't know why it came up to my mind. Are there any Czech people from Czech Republic here? Yeah, all right, good. Yeah, so you're going to know what I'm talking about. There was this event, I believe it was in Prague. I'm not sure, because I'm not Czech. But I think it's okay, it was Prague, I guess. Okay, so there was these Czech guys, they took the Austrian, I believe, people, and they took them and threw them out of the window. I would really like to see this event in person. I'm pretty sure it was Peter II. Defenestration. Yeah. So, defenestration. I have no idea why it came to my mind. It just was the time when the Czechs really stood up for themselves against the, I believe, foreign powers being too much authoritarian against them. So that's something we like, right? Who doesn't like authoritarians? Anyone? Yeah. Oh, you get it. Yes, just to wrap it up, Defenestration in Prague was a very monumental event, and that's one of the events I would like to come back to. Thank you.
You give us that.
Okay. Excuse me. You have to pick your next, the next victim.
Thank you for choosing the victim. So I choose you because I was doing from yesterday.
Okay. So I'm going to give you your guesses first, then your topic. Thumbs down. Pointing finger. I know I said that you shouldn't point your finger, but this is okay. Right, and your topic is going to be superpower choice. If you could have one superpower for a day, what would it be and how would you use it?
So I have to make a story.
You have to make a story about your superpower choice. Using these 3 gestures, not necessarily in that order. Pointing finger, hand horn, and thumbs down. And the time starts now. Let's go.
Then I was in Spain one day, and then when I wake up, I understood that there's too much muscle power inside me. So I know a matador friend, and I said to them, "Can I be a matador?" And they said, "You?" And I said, "Yes." I said, "Okay." So I go to the area, and the bull like this, and tried to fight me, like. But I was really powerful. And when the bull just came in, I didn't do anything. And the bull came to me and crashed to me, and then just done.
Good job. What's your name? Sorry? What's your name? Camille. You have to choose. Yeah. Maybe choose a female, okay? You will choose a female after, okay? Right, so let's stop this before the alarm goes off. Okay, yep. And your topic is going to be dream dinner guests. And if you haven't noticed yet, I'm actually just going down through the list. So you can be thinking about what would you answer to all of these questions, because you might just get picked next. Dream dinner guests. And it's like if you could invite any 3 people, living or dead, to a dinner party, who would they be and what would you talk about? And your 3 gestures are, okay. And beckoning is calling. Waving hello, jazz hands, and beckoning. Okay, I'm going to start the clock. All right, do you want the question again? If you could invite any 3 people, living or dead, to a dinner party, who would they be and what would you talk about? Yeah. Raising hello, jazz hands, and beckoning. Trying to practice them now. You have your hands in your pockets, by the way. You're not going to be able to make gestures with your hands in your pockets. Beckoning is calling. Yeah. Okay. So, take a deep breath. Yeah.
So last hours we have Meloni, Erdogan, and the Prime Minister in a dinner table. So they're saying each other's hi because they love each other. Of course, because of the Indian and Turkish rings, they love each other. They're making some love content to Meloni because it's a very civilized thing to do. for meme makers, and of course, they are very intelligent creators. So when Erdogan put chair back from the loan, just Indian Prime Minister got up and just said, "Don't do that. Let me come to my table, my chair, and I put the chair back for you." So that's it. I don't care about the ending story. That's it.
Okay. Take care next week. Make sure it's female.
Yeah, okay. So, you seem so interesting. Is that an option?
What's your name, miss? It's a secret. Okay, secret, come up. Give her a round of applause. It's painless. Okay, just let me stop this. So yours is going to be a bucket list item, or you can pick whichever topic you want. Bucket list, yeah? Okay. So the question is, share one item from your bucket list that you're determined to accomplish, and explain why it's so important to you. And your gestures are... And then a hand clap, and thumbs up with a wink. You ready?
No, give me a second.
Do you want to practice?
Yeah, okay, let's go.
Okay. Okay, so share one item from your bucket list and why it's so important to you. And your 2 minutes, your 2 minutes start now. Oops. Now.
So my item in a bucket list is to get into Forbes 30 under 30, because sometimes I am a bit jealous of people who are getting in there because it's a big accomplishment, and I do sarcastic laughing, rock and roll capitalism. But I know that in that much days I'm gonna be there because my business video or because I'm so influential and beautiful and smart. Yeah, and people are gonna be cheering and clapping and gonna be so proud.
Excellent. So it wasn't so bad, was it? And see what you have to pick your next victim.
City.
Okay.
Give her a round of applause. Do you have a topic in mind that you'd like to talk about? Unexpected talent, okay, great. Let's remove that. We had that one before, so I'm going to remove it. This one. Well, I removed it so we can pick another one. Yeah. Thumbs up, crossed fingers, victory sign. Look. Thumbs up, crossed fingers, victory sign. It's a V. Okay. Okay. Wait, hold on. You have to get the timer. When you hear the ding, you can start talking.
Okay. Well, I raised 2 brothers and 1 sister, and we sometimes have intelligence conference at home. Imagine it's like competition, and when my brother wins something, just I do this, yeah. When my sister just complains about something or wins any question, I do this one.
Excellent. You have to pick your next victim. Does anybody want to go?
You. You. Yeah. It should be her. Thank you.
Okay. So, what topic would you like to speak about, or do you want me to pick one for you?
Maybe a book recommendation?
Okay. And your gestures are? Finger to lips, tapping forehead, like that, yeah, or this actually, and the Vulcan salute. Yeah, like that. You okay with them?
Yep.
Okay. So your time starts.
Wait. So, leaves, salt, and
Excellent, yeah. Now.
So I would like to share with you the last book I read, which happens to be my very favorite one. It's very relevant nowadays, considering the situation in Georgia and generally in the world. It's A Feast of the Gods by Mario Vargas Llosa. And I think everyone who lives in authoritarian countries where talking freely is forbidden, and you always have to be quiet. You have to think and read books such as Feast of the Gods. It's very thought-provoking and amazing to see the terror and horrors the totalitarian regimes bring in societies. So if we think about how dangerous it can be for personal freedoms in societies, then maybe we can change those regimes for better.
Excellent. Okay, I'm not going to make you think that we need to move on, but thanks for doing that. That was great. No, you don't have to pick. No. Unless you want to. Does anybody want to do it? This guy down the back, he had his hand up. Come on down. Give him a round of applause. Okay, is there anything on the list there that you would like to talk about?
yeah, actually, dream home.
The dream home, okay,
I
perfect.
had that.
No, we did not. Okay, and this is the last speaker of this exercise. So, dream home. While that's searching, I'm going to look for the question here. Dream home. If you could have dream home, okay. There it is. Describe your ideal home, including its location, design, and unique features that make it your dream residence. Your gestures are hitchhiker's thumb, high five, and thumbs down. Yeah, and if you want to do a high five, you can pick anyone in the audience to do it. Yeah? Okay. So your time, sir, starts when you hear the ding. Now.
Have you ever been hit by a car? You can raise your hands. So, lots of you. I was almost hit by a car twice in the same day here in Georgia, in Batumi, to be specifically. I was like, I wanted to live in Georgia. I love Georgia. It's like one of my favorite countries I have been to. But like traffic is so horrendous. It's like no. So I am looking for new destinations for my ideal home. Basically, I don't know where it can be. I just know I want it to be like city center because, okay, I like people, I like standing on the terrace and high-five my neighbors. And I mean, who doesn't love that? Like, less privacy and stuff like that. So, like, I played Sims as a kid, a lot of Sims. And I think I know like the best that they want from my home is like big perfume rug and like big sofa that is like turquoise, as they would say. I mean, that's good, I would say so, but many people would disagree with me on that. And yeah, it has to have like secret room if the police comes, but like, yeah, we don't have to talk about that. So, thank you.
Okay. The purpose of that exercise was to get you used to talking with your body, to get you used to doing, and that's why the topics don't really matter what they are, but it's to get you used to communicating with gestures and body language. Hold on. Let me just get the presenter view back up. That's it. Okay. All right. Control Shift F. There we go. Right. So, any questions on nonverbal communication before we move on? Yes?
Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for the immersive experience that I had actually. And I noticed that there was one piece of the nonverbal communication that I actually didn't cover in your presentation, but I utilized it very well yourself. This is what you wear and how
Oh, yeah.
you respond to
That's a different lesson for a different day. Yeah. There's like one section of my program that deals with what you're talking about. It talks about logos, pathos, and ethos. And logos is the logic of the of what you're saying. Ethos is how you dress and how you present yourself. And that ties into nonverbal communication as well. And pathos is the effect, the emotional impact that you're having on the audience. And this was Aristotle who discovered these three modes of persuasion, that you persuade people with how you dress, how you turn up, how you stand, and how you speak, which is the credibility of the speaker, ethos. Pathos is the emotional impact you're having on the audience, and logos is the structure of your presentation and the content of your presentation, but very perceptive.
Is any precise number to use these numberable forms of communication, even on the duration of speech?
I don't understand the question.
Precise, like timing of the movement, like calculated static or how many times you can use during a speech, like let's say for a 5-minute speech or 10-minute speech?
Well, I don't think there's a precise number exactly, but there's a number of techniques, and it depends on the effect that you're trying to create. So the impact that you want to create is going to very much determine what techniques you use. But Cicero, who was ancient Roman orator, he said that the best time to introduce the ethos is at the start. The credibility of the speaker, or if you're writing an essay, it's the same. Like you would have your credentials up front and center, and then you would have your logos, and then you have the emotional appeal at the end of your speech, which is like, won't anybody think of the children, right? Okay, so let's move on to storytelling. There we go. Did you enjoy that exercise? Okay. There's more exercises that we could do, but I'm pushed for time, so I'm just going to go straight into Storytelling 101. We all love stories. We are born for them. Stories affirm who we are, and we all want affirmations that our lives have meaning, purpose. Nothing does a greater affirmation than when we connect through stories. It can cross the barriers through time and space, past, present, and future, and allows us to experience the similarities between ourselves and through others, real and imagined. That was by Andrew Stanton, who was the writer of Toy Story. Now, I'm going to give you an example, 2 examples, to highlight the difference between telling and storytelling. And I'd like some volunteers for these examples. The first example is this. Does anyone want to volunteer to read that? Yes, sir.
Right now without microphone, right?
Do you want the microphone?
Not a problem, actually. Just that.
There you go.
Thank you. According to multiple recent studies, the world has experienced a significant decline in wildlife animal populations over the last few decades. For example, the African elephant population has dropped from 1.3 million to only 115,000 in just 40 years. Additionally, approximately 25% of all known mammal species are currently at risk of extinction, with habitat loss being a leading cause. Urgent action is needed to address this crisis, including increased protection of endangered species, restoration of degraded habitats, and reduction of human impact on the environment.
Did I see your hand up here? Yeah. So I want you to read example B. There you go.
Can you just come forward a bit because I forgot my glasses in my room?
Yeah, come ahead. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. When Sarah moved to Africa, she was stunned by the majesty of the African elephant when she witnessed a herd for the first time. Struck by their complex social structures and their obvious intelligence, Sarah was later distraught and felt powerless as she watched the elephant population decline by over 2/3 during her lifetime. Sarah decided to act, started an animal conservation charity, and sacrificed countless hours working to restore habitats, raise awareness, and lobby for increased protections for these amazing rare animals. Today, Sarah remains committed to her cause, knowing that every small step can make a difference in the fight to save these incredible creatures. But the challenges are great, and she needs support.
Thank you. So, what was the difference between those 2 stories? Sorry? Exactly. You down the back?
The first one seems objective. The second one seems manipulative.
Okay, interesting choice of words. Yes. Yes. That's exactly right. That's the concept of the article. You had your hand up? Okay. Can you speak a little bit more about that? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Who said that? Yeah, absolutely right. So example A presents factual information and statistics. It focuses on the decline in animal populations globally. It gives statistics about elephant population decline, emphasizes risk of extinction for mammals. It also advocates for specific urgent action. It's objective and data-driven, and it addresses the need for environmental protection. Example B is a personal story of an individual's experience. It focuses on the emotional impact of Sarah. Sarah's personal connections to the elephants, describes Sarah's response to the issue, narrates the journey from witness to activist, elicits empathy and emotional engagement, inspires others to action through their story. Now, to the person who said that the second story was manipulative, perhaps you're right. But what if I told you that humans are emotional creatures? And so if you're going to have a more effect by telling the story, then why not use it? It's kind of rational. Go ahead.
You mentioned a lot of philosophers during your presentation, and one of the very specific time period on when it was needed to know how to sell how you speak in Greece, and you had the sophists. So they were known for actually seeing that the idea of, since human beings are emotional, that we should use this to convince them what we believe.
Yeah.
But that can be just manipulation. It's just like washing the word.
Okay.
It depends on what you want to do.
Exactly. It depends on what you want to do, and what you would call manipulation, I would call effective communication. Because you're getting the result that you want. And I know I'm in a room full of objectivists here, okay? So I want to just emphasize this point. If you're not getting anywhere with facts and data, because our opponents, they don't really hear that. It doesn't communicate to them. If you wrap it up in a story, you can make the same point. That's what the left are really good at doing. So we can fight fire with fire. Now, trust me, stories are effective, okay? I don't consider it manipulation at all. I consider it a smart way to use language to communicate. Stories don't even have to be true. They just have to be effective. Now, to help you to be effective storytellers, I don't have enough time to go into my full storytelling workshop, but I'm going to give you the 4 C's of storytelling: characters, conflict, conquest, and connection. So characters provide a way for the audience to connect with the story. They're vehicles that drive the plot forward. And that's why it's okay to kill your characters, because they're not real human beings. They're just vehicles. And these are all very famous characters. You probably know most of these movies, these references. See, the thing is, it's the same story over and over and over again. If we had time, I would tell you about Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey, the monomyth. But every story that we read has archetypes in it, from the sage, the hero, the caregiver, the innocent, the jester, the ordinary guy or gal, the outlaw, the ruler, the lover, the magician, the explorer, the creator. So when you're telling stories, you can start thinking about your characters as different archetypes. But it would just be boring if you just talked about the character, right? You have to put the character in a difficult situation, an obstacle or a conflict. And along that journey, he's going to find enemies and allies. What's at stake? What do we stand to lose? The inner and outer battles that we face. Then you have conquest, which is the closure, the climax, the conclusion. It closes off the hero's journey. It satisfies the audience's anticipation, and it conveys lessons and asks or answers questions. And finally, you have connection. This is probably the most important reason for why you should use stories, because you're trying to connect with the person you're communicating with on a human level. And humans are emotional beings as well. So I would say it's irrational for you to not use stories when you're communicating. Does it make sense? Does everybody agree? I know you don't agree down the back, but that's okay.
No, that's your conclusion.
Yes, that's my conclusion. So stories are vehicles for connection. They leave a lasting impression. They empathize with needs and wants and share facts wrapped up in stories. That's why I gave the 2 examples at the beginning of this presentation, this section. Now, we're going to look at...
Hi, I'm Kristen Lester, a story artist here at Pixar. Today we're going to talk about story structure, the way we organize and tell our stories. But before we begin, have you guys heard the joke about the mushroom that goes to the discotheque? A mushroom walks into a discotheque, and he walks up to a lady and he asks her to dance. She says, "Ah, gross, no, you're a mushroom." So he walks up to another lady and asks her to dance. Man, not interested. Lady after lady after lady. Rejected, rejected, rejected. Nobody wants to dance with him. Finally, the mushroom walks over to the bartender and he's so confused. He says, "I don't get it. Why does nobody want to dance with me? I mean, I'm a fun guy." See, this joke is a structure. It's got an opening, a build-up in the middle, and an ending, which is, the punchline. That structure is a big part of what makes it funny. Structure is the answer to the question, what do you want the audience to know, and when? If you get the order wrong, it can be a real problem. Check it out. Hey, can I tell you a joke? All right, so there's this fun guy, and shoot, I messed up the opening. Okay. Hey, can I tell you a joke? All right, so there's a mushroom who walks into a discotheque, and then there's a bartender there. Ah, darn it, I messed up the middle. Hey, can I tell you a joke? All right, so there's a mushroom who walks into a discotheque, and there's a bunch of ladies on the dance floor. He asks them to dance, and they say yes. Dang, without conflict, joke over. See, structure is important. Just as structure is a big part of telling a funny joke, it's also essential to making a movie that has the emotional impact you want on your audience. Shh, this is a great example. In earlier versions of Finding Nemo, the structure of the story was very different than the final film. The director wanted to interweave scenes of Nemo's parents' lives before they had kids as flashbacks throughout the whole movie. So you would see them meet, hello, fall in love, and eventually move into their house at the drop-off in little scenes throughout the film.
Oh, honey, it's beautiful.
The main story of Marlin and Nemo and their journey was pretty much exactly the way it is now. But with the flashback structure, it wasn't until the end of the film that you would find out that Marlin's wife Coral and all of her eggs were killed by a barracuda. When they showed the movie with this structure, they had one big problem. The audiences, well, they didn't like Marlin. Looking at their story structure, the team realized that in this version of the film, the audience didn't find out why Marlin was acting this way towards his son until the movie was almost over. So they decided to re-edit the movie and remove almost all of the flashbacks, leaving only the scenes where Coral and Marlin's home is attacked by the barracuda, killing Coral and all of her eggs, except for Nemo. They moved these scenes to the beginning of the movie.
I promise I will never let anything happen to you.
This change in the story structure changed the audience feelings about Marlin a lot. They knew right from the beginning how much Marlin had lost and how brave it was for him to go after Nemo, and they loved him for it. In the case of Finding Nemo, finding the problem was a matter of rearranging the story structure. Of course, all our movies are different, and their story structure challenges are too. In this lesson, we'll look at the many different ways we think about story structure here at Pixar, and you'll get to try out for yourself different approaches.
Okay, what do you just think of that? Does it make sense? So the structure, the way you place the elements of the story is very important for creating that desired effect. If this example had just gone with the older version, the first version of the storyboard, then it would just been flat. And I don't know if I would like Finding Nemo, which is a great movie, I must say. I don't know if I would like it as much if it was the way they originally had it. And this leads me into the next topic, which is hearts and minds, the neuroscience of storytelling. So why do our brains love stories? Well, I have to say it has a lot to do with drugs. Well, chemicals. Dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. Another one that I haven't got on here is cortisol, the fear response. So dopamine affects motivation and memory. You can create a dopamine response by creating suspense or a cliffhanger. You can create serotonin response by telling jokes, surprise, and delight, and that stimulates feelings of well-being and happiness. And you can create oxytocin by having an empathetic character. Now, if we were doing the full program, at the very start, I would tell you that words are like magic. I think I mentioned it at the start of this presentation when I said words are the only peaceful means that we have to change the world, emphasis on peaceful. At this point in the program, I would like to say that words are, you should start thinking of your words like you're scientists. And how you tell the story is going to affect different emotional responses in your listener. And just to hammer home this, I have another video for you to watch. Okay.
I want to tell you a story about a little boy named Ben. Ben is 2.5 years old, and about a little boy named Ben. Ben is 2.5 years old, and Ben has brain cancer. And Ben's really happy. He's happy because he's been through 2 rounds of chemo and radiation, and he feels good for once. He doesn't feel yucky, and his father's enjoying seeing Ben's happiness. As the father tells the story of Ben and his cancer, the father's voice begins to break, and he says, it's very difficult to play with Ben, because Ben thinks everything is wonderful, but I know something that Ben doesn't, that Ben's dying. And he talks about how difficult it is to play with Ben, knowing that in 3 or 6 months, Ben will be dead. And yet Ben is so happy, he's so beautiful. And so the father tries as hard as he can to enjoy Ben, to be joyful around Ben. But then he says in the middle of his short story that it's an amazing thing to know how little time one has left. And as he says that statement, he has merged himself with his son. It's as if the father himself is dying. So in my laboratory, we've studied this story extensively. What we found is that 2 primary emotions were elicited. One is distress, and the other is empathy. At the same time, when we asked people what they felt after the story was over, we really couldn't get very clear answers. So we began doing other studies on the story. So we took blood before and after, and we found that the brain produced 2 interesting chemicals. One is called cortisol, which focuses our attention on something important. So cortisol correlated with our sense of distress. The more distress you felt, the more cortisol you released, and the more you paid attention to that stimulus. The second chemical release is called oxytocin, which is associated with care, connection, and empathy. And oxytocin was correlated with people's sense of empathy. And the more oxytocin released, the more empathic they felt towards Ben and his father. And we did something different after this experiment. We gave individuals a chance to share money with a stranger in the lab. And indeed, those who produced both cortisol and oxytocin were more likely to donate money generously to a stranger they couldn't see in the lab. In another experiment, we gave individuals a chance to donate money to a charity that works with children who are ill. And indeed, those who released oxytocin and cortisol donated money to this charity. In fact, the amount of oxytocin release predicted in both cases how much money people would share with a stranger or with a charity. What we're seeing is that this narrative is changing behavior by changing our brain chemistry. So we decided to go a little further and ask, could we actually predict before they watched the video who would donate money to charity? So with funding from the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, we reran the study in which we not only took blood, but now we measured heart rate and skin conductance and respiration. And using these additional measures, we were able to identify this stress response and this empathic response, and we could predict with 80% accuracy who would donate money to charity. These individuals get paid about $20 to be an experiment, and the people who donated money on average donated half their earnings. So we began to investigate the story further. We used functional brain imaging to identify the regions of the brain that were most active while watching that video compared to a control video in which Ben and his father were at the zoo. What we found was that the most active areas for the emotional story were areas of the brain associated with theory of mind or understanding of what others are doing, and areas that are regionalized those receptors that make us feel empathy. And guess what happens when you watch 100 seconds of a father and son at the zoo? Nothing happens, and people just blank out. There's no reason for them to attend to this information because nothing's happening. There's nothing exciting. It's important to understand that stories have to have this particular structure. 150 years ago, a German theorist and fright called this the dramatic part. So there are particular story aspects that go into making an effective story: exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and then its denouement. The story of Ben and his father talking about knowing his son is dying has those aspects. It captures their attention. There's a coming climax. How can Ben's father actually engage with his son in this wonderful, relaxed, playful way, and knowing that his son will die soon? It seems like there may be a universal kind of story structure. So stories are powerful because they transport us into other people's worlds, but in doing that, they change the way our brains work and potentially change our brain chemistry. And that's what it means to be a social creature, is to connect to others, to care about others, even complete strangers. And it's so interesting that dramatic stories cause us to do this. In these experiments, they do it in a very functional way. People are donating money because they want to help Ben and his father. And yet when we watch other stories or see movies, listen to music, the same thing can happen. We feel uplifted, we feel motivated, or we feel connected to others around us.
Okay, does it make sense? Yeah? Can I get some thumbs up? Lovely. Does anybody know who this is? Hemingway, yep. Stories don't even have to be long. Ernest Hemingway once bet a bunch of fellows that he could make them cry with a story that was 6 words long. If he won the bet, they would each have to give him $10. And the story that he wrote was For Sale, Baby Shoes, Never Worn. Can you feel that? So I actually think I have another video now. And if you haven't noticed the last video.
Walk on stage, walk on stage, walk on stage.
Oh.
Walk on stage, walk on stage, walk on stage, walk on stage. I am a thought leader. You know that I'm a thought leader because I'm wearing a blazer, I have glasses, and I've just done this with my hands. I'll now walk over to my laptop. By doing so, I'm demonstrating to you that as a thought leader, I understand technology and that there will be slides. Because everybody knows that a presentation seems more legitimate than it actually is if there are slides. I'm now going to come back to the center of the stage and give you some unremarkable context about how I became a thought leader. If it's okay with you, I'd like to pace while telling you this story. In 2009, I met a thought leader, and I asked him, how did you become a thought leader? And you know what he said? He said, I don't know. Now that doesn't sound important, and it's not. But if I repeat it 3 times, I'm making you believe that it is important. He said, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Let's look at a picture of the planet for no reason. It's nice, isn't it? That's where we live. What happens if I put some words over it? How about a number? What if I pose a question? By doing this, I've now made you think that I know what I'm talking about. Okay. Walking over here, I'm going to change the tone of my voice. And I'm going to tell you an unremarkable story that's seemingly unrelated. And it's funny. And you'll know it's funny, because I'm laughing, and you're laughing. And you'll ask yourself, what does this have to do with this talk? What is the point? Well, coming back to the center, and slowly, lowering the volume of my voice, by looking at you directly, and by making a list on my fingers, I've made you believe there is a point. Sip of water. Check the time. Ooh, let's bring this up home. Graph, 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 pie chart, statistic. How about we end with a question, a very big question. What if everybody in this room decided to come together and agree with what I'm saying? Flip a picture of planet Earth. That is a world I want to live in. Coming back to the center of the stage. Standing ovation. Humble head nod, humble head nod, humble head nod. See someone I know, humble head nod. Video fades to black while the applause continues for an unrealistic amount of time. Humble head nod. Thank you. Walk up. Walk up.
So, I showed you that video just to emphasize, just to show you that public speaking is not that scary. Public speaking, when done well, is performance. You can turn work into fun. And these sorts of techniques are what I teach on my public speaking course. But before I get to that, by show of hands, who's less afraid of public speaking now? Come on. Okay, for those who didn't raise their hands, I want you to come and check out my course. So, on this course, you're going to explore the origins of language and power of words, apply 3 core principles of public speaking, which we talked about earlier, discover the ancient art of rhetoric, master the tools of persuasion, unleash the art of storytelling, and perform with poise, presence, and punch. And these are all photographs of my previous students. Spotlight Public Speaking Masterclass. It was $895. It's on special for $495. Now, what you get with that, you get unlimited access to the 4 modules. There's 4 online courses, 10 hours of video lessons, over 100 video lessons, practical assignments, community access, and guaranteed results. And as a special offer for NICON, you can get 50% off that price. So you could save in total $647, let's round it up to $650. But you have to scan that code, or you can use the code NICON25 at the checkout. The first 20 NICON sign-ups will get a one-to-one bonus coaching session with yours truly. And if you want to email me, that's the email address there. So I'll just leave that on the screen, and I have business cards over here as well. Feel free to take them. There's a QR code on that as well. And without further ado, I'll open to take some questions. I think I have about 5 minutes left. Yes, Nika.
I think I attended your talks like minimum 10 times, and what I appreciate most about it, like your talks, every time you give us different perspective. Like we can look at public speaking from different angle, and thank you for that. You and Leopold are numero uno for me in public speaking, thank you. And my question is, actually, it's a general question. So do you think it is possible to be effective speaker without having first principle knowledge in a particular domain?
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say that it is possible.
Sorry, I have a second one. Should I say right?
Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah. And second one is I'm looking for your advice because this happened to me before. So what do you do when you are doing a public speaking and in the front row you see some giants in your domain or some successful people or some rich people, or I don't know, like people you look up to?
Yeah. Well, okay. Maybe I'll start with the second question first. I look at that as an opportunity to impress those people, because when are they ever going to see you performing on stage if not in those circumstances? And it's a rare opportunity, and you should make the most of that opportunity. And to go to the first question, I would say that it is possible, but it's a lot more difficult to kind of do it, like to wing it. I've been speaking for about 20 years. I know I had 15 years up on the thing, up on the bio. But when I think of it, it is actually about 20 years I've been publicly speaking. Now, so the tips that I've learned here, they didn't come naturally. That was just over many, many times speaking at different panels and festivals and conferences. And I'm very conscious of what I'm saying. So I would always look back at the video of how I performed. And that's what has enabled me to, do what I'm doing now. And if it wasn't for the techniques that I have developed and learned over the years, like I said earlier, it would have taken me a lot longer to get back to speaking after the brain surgery. So I would say it is possible. I think some people have it, like I dare say Donald Trump has it. He can just talk off the cuff for hours, a little bit too long sometimes. So I would say, yeah, it is possible, but it's easier when you have the support.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Slonček, Kevin.
Yes? Yeah.
Well, I want to ask a bit of a, I don't want to sound a bit backward, but with the popularization of TED Talks and a lot of public speaking courses, I feel like if you watch a lot of public speaking, since they downgraded the art of public speaking to an equation, after you watch a lot of them, it starts to feel dull or almost bland because they're always following the same equation. And the best lectures or speeches that I listened were actually the ones that had no public speaking attempt almost. And it feels like the first thing you showed us, one of the first things, learn the rules so you can break them as an artist. Some of the people that I listened were experts of their field. And when they were public speaking, they did none of the things that we talked about. For example, a professor of 50 or 60 years just came in, sat on a table, and just talked to the entire room. And that was one of the best speeches I listened to my entire life. And what I want to ask is that, what do you think of this act of sincerity, breaking the rules of public speaking and connecting to the audience that way?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is against everything we heard today and everything that the TED Talks and not everything, I know, the body language and connection, but it is against this general lessons on public speaking, and those are actually more effective on people. So I want to get your comment on that as a...
So let me just understand the question. You said that the professor that you saw had 50 years of experience, and it was the best speech that you've ever heard.
Yeah, but I mean, there were these are several speeches from experts.
I just need like a yes or a no because yes, okay. Well, maybe it's because he had 50 years of experience learning the rules like a pro, and then he was able to break them like an artist. And here's the thing, right? There's no other skill that's worth investing more of your time and potentially money in than public speaking. Why? Because it's going to get you the job that you want. If you are like at the top of your game on paper and you can't speak in an interview, you're never going to get the job. And somebody who's good at speaking and might not have the same equivalent qualifications of you, but if they can talk in the interview, they're going to get that job. Same with first date, right? We're always pitching ourselves, even on a first date. Same with when you're defending your university thesis. It's the same. Because language is the only peaceful means at our disposal to create the world that we want to live in. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I've been getting this stop sign, so that's the end of my talk. I'm going to be here for the whole day, the whole rest of the conference, and I'm happy to continue the conversation outside. Thank you very much.